vision of Saint Chavra that every child comes to this temple of learning must be filled with knowledge, fear of God, respect to the elders, respecting the rules and regulations of this education portal, love and reverence to parents and love for the nation. It is an honor and privilege to have Dr. J Alexander IAS, former Chief Secretary and Cabinet Minister Karnataka, as a special chief guest on this memorable day to witness the Investiture Ceremony 21-22. I welcome our distinguished chief guest, Rev Fr Principal, Vice Principal, our coordinators, staff members, parents and dear students to this program. Let us pray and sing His praise along with our school choir. Students, for invoking God's presence. I invite our beloved Vice Principal, Reverend Father Martin, Honourable CMI, to welcome the chief guest and the august gathering.
A very good afternoon, my dear Christites. Great things are achieved through great leadership, and great leaders are created in the four walls of a classroom.
Let us invoke God by lighting the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. I invite the dignitaries to light the lamp.
Leaders translate dreams into reality. Leaders transform vision into action. Leaders lead, guide, and inspire. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Here we have our leaders from State Board and CBSE ready to march ahead to be introduced to our chief guest of the day, Mr. J Alexander IAS, and the other esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Starting with State Board, stepping forward now is the newly elected school pupil leaders Adam Smith A. and Jasni George.
I, Adam Smith A.,
Jasni George, do solemnly swear in the name of God that I will faithfully carry out the duties and responsibilities of the office of school pupil leader. Responsibilities of the office of LCA Secretary in the School Cabinet of Christ School for the academic year 2021-22 in the true spirit. That I will faithfully carry out
the duties and responsibilities of the office of sports captain in the school cabinet. That I will faithfully carry out the duties and responsibilities of the office of LCS Secretary in the school cabinet of Christ School for the academic year 2021-22 in the true spirit of service. Carry out the duties and responsibilities of the office of sports captain in the school cabinet. We have the newly elected head boy and head girl, Delvin Kuriakos and Tanayam. I will always carry out the instructions given to me by the principal and members of the staff.
Yogananda B.Y.
Gayatri R. Krishna,
do solemnly swear
in the name of God that I will faithfully carry out the duties and responsibilities of the office of sports captain.
To all our dignitaries for honoring the cabinet members, and congratulations to all the newly elected cabinet members. We wish you all the very best to carry your duties and responsibilities successfully.
I invite Rev Fr Martin Onessari CMI, our Vice Principal, to honor the Chief Guest with the shawl.
Good afternoon. Reverend Father Sebastian, Principal of the school, Reverend Father Martin, Vice Principal of the school, Mr. Thomas, the coordinator, the great leaders who have been selected today and who have been given the investiture by me, their proud parents, teachers, and my dear students. I have to start with a few words of congratulations. First and foremost, I congratulate Father Sebastian and the Vice Principal and the coordinator and all the teachers for organizing a function like this. They introduced me as a former IAS officer and as a former cabinet minister. In both these capacities, I had several opportunities to participate in functions like investiture. I myself, as a cabinet minister, witnessed a swearing ceremony like this. But I must say, this is the most beautiful function of this nature I have attended. I have never before attended a function of investiture of school leaders, and the way in which every one of them came to receive their letters of what are the oath-taking forms and everything, so disciplined, and the way they have been trained and the confidence they showed when they appeared, all of them. I was observing them very carefully, and therefore, before congratulating them, I want to congratulate you, students, for selecting such leaders. The next is to these proud parents who have chosen for their children this school. You must all be grateful to your parents for giving you this opportunity to study in a school like this. I am not saying this because I have been invited as the chief guest for this function. I have known the CMI society and the fathers who are running this institution, and I always say there are three types of educational institutions, schools and colleges. The first is institutions run by the government and the municipal corporations and all that. I used to be the commissioner of the BBMP. We had about 40 to 50 schools. We were running schools because as part of the obligation of the municipality to run schools also. It is a part of the responsibility of the government to run schools. So when these bodies run schools, they do that as their responsibility. Then all of you know, in Bangalore and in other cities, there are schools run by business people because they have found that is one of the best investments. You run a school and make a lot of money. But this type of schools run by the CMI fathers, missionaries, are run not because it is their obligation, not for making money, but because they believe that it is their mission to spend their time and energy and resources for building up a society. And that is why I said I congratulated the parents and I congratulate all of you for having given this opportunity, because it is not merely the infrastructure facilities of the school, it is not the type of excellent instruction that they give to you, but the kind of atmosphere that is provided to you, the value systems that are given to you. You have seen the boys and girls who came up here, they read this oath of office, and it begins with mention the name of God. And after saying all this, that I would like to honor the principal, honor the institution, obey the instructions, help me God. The first and foremost lesson that is being conveyed apart from the normal syllabus and education is faith in a supreme power. It is not a Christian God or Hindu God or Muslim God, but the faith in a supreme power. Dear friends, with the advance of science and technology, with the unprecedented growth of science and technology, we are tending to forget God. We are tending to believe that man's capacity is tremendous. We can go to the moon, we can go to the Mars, we can create robots, we can create even living beings. Pride comes before that. One of the most progressive scientific societies in America, there was a lady, president of the American Medical Association. Her name was Dr. Elma Hess, a very famous doctor. She was elected unanimously as the president of the American Association of Medical Professionals. And once she made a very profound statement. She said that if you have no faith in a supreme being which controls the destinies of everything, you have no business at all to enter a sick man's room. As the Medical Association President, she was telling all the doctors, you may be experts, you may be postgraduates, you may be super specialists, but when you enter a sick man's room, when you enter a hospital, have faith in a supreme being. That's the first lesson that they are talking to you. Whether you are become a politician, or a doctor, an IAS officer, or a priest, or whoever it is, whatever be your field of activity, that is going to be your faith. Remember that there is a supreme power that guides the destinies of all of us. First lesson. When they received me, Father gave me, usually they give some books or something like that, but today he gave me a small plant. It is symbolic. All of us are now becoming increasingly aware of the nature, of the need of protecting, conserving our nature. Conservation of a nature has become, it is not merely a craze, but it is a necessity. Somebody said that this earth, which we are giving to the next generation, is not a gift to the next generation. What you are giving is not a gift to your children, but it is a loan taken from your grandchildren. Very significant statement. This earth, which you are giving to your children, is not a gift to them, but it is a loan from your grandchildren. Responsibility to preserve, conserve the earth. That is simple. Don't you think so far? You are given it only for that. All of you children must realize that we have a big responsibility to do everything in our power to conserve the nature. When we were lighting the lamp, all of you heard this beautiful song, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amridam Gamaya. It is not a simple song, but this song contains within itself the entire philosophy of Indian society and culture, our civilization. This is a reminder to us that whatever we are, we must always remember our heritage, our background, our history, and what our forefathers have taught us as eternal values to guide our life. Asatoma Sadgamaya, lead us from darkness to light. Education is supposed to be or expected to be a process of leading students from an area of darkness to light. They say the root meaning of education is a Latin word, educere. Educere means to lead out. So education is the process of leading children out of an area of darkness. Darkness created by prejudices, darkness created by casteism, darkness created by fissiparous tendencies, and taking them out and putting into an area of light where we believe in the sanity of human beings, the necessity of harmony in society, and so forth. Dear friends, you are all living in a time when we have a lot of things to depress us. The COVID pandemic has taken a lot of energy from our minds, worried about the future, worried about the present. So many things are happening, but in the midst of all this, there is an old English poem which said, God is in heaven and all is well with the world. God is in heaven and all is well with the world. So for everything we have faith that there is a meaning, there is a purpose for whatever is happening, and God is in control. If that faith is there, then we can carry on facing the insurmountable challenges that are coming up. I would like to mention 2 points which are for education. There was once a very famous teacher, a professor of philosophy. He was teaching in a university in UK, Oxford University. He was a great professor who was popular all over the world because of the depth of his knowledge and the capacity for speaking. So he used to be invited to several places for lectures. And once he was invited for the convocation address of the New York State University. And after his convocation address was over, one professor approached him and asked him, "Sir, we have heard about your profound knowledge of philosophy. We have heard about your admirable ability to articulate. We would like to know, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned in your life? And which is the institution where you learned that?" Very prompt, a very relevant question. What is the biggest lesson that you have learned in your life? And which is the institution where you learned? 2 questions. He smiled and said, "The biggest lesson of my life I learned in my nursery class." A professor of philosophy in Oxford University addressing a convocation in New York State University tells the questioner that the greatest lesson of my life I learned in my kindergarten nursery class. Then they asked, what is that lesson? He said, that lesson is, when we were in the nursery class, our teacher used to say, "Children, when you go out of this class, when you go out of this building, hold your hands together. Hold your hands together." That was the lesson that I remember even today. I just want to leave that thought to you, dear children. We are living in a multi-religious, multi-racial, multilingual society. And if this society, if this country has to survive as a great nation, we must learn and practice the art of living together. And educational institutions must be give an opportunity to get this training. This process of election of office bearers for you have 2 great advantages. One is that these young children who have been elected to different offices get a tremendous opportunity to develop the leadership qualities in them, confidence in them. And so far as you are concerned, you got an experience of what democracy is, what election is, how to elect suitable people for offices which are going to guide you. After 35 years of being in the Indian Administrative Service and occupying the highest position in the government as Chief Secretary, when I came to the state for seeking for votes for election, some people came and asked me, "Sir, what has happened to you? What is wrong with you? Something has gone wrong with you. You are enjoying all the powers of the government as Chief Secretary. Why are you now going around asking for votes?" I told them, it is not for the desire to become an MLA. In my service, I have dealt with so many MLAs. It is not for the desire to become a minister. But I wanted to convey that politics, elections, these are all very important in the life of a democratic society. Human society from the very beginning has experimented with all forms of government. Monarchy, oligarchy, autocracy, dictatorship, military rule. But from all these rules, the best form of government by far is democracy, because democracy allows the human mind to flower. And if democracy has to be successful, there must be elections, there must be voting, there must be candidates, there must be politicians. So this is a training for you in electioneering, in the basic lessons of democracy. Congratulations, Father, for the wonderful way in which these students are being trained in civic consciousness, in electioneering, in responsibility and all that. I just leave with one channel. Whenever I talk to students, I say this. There is a great English writer by name Francis Bacon. I want all of you to remember this. Francis Bacon. He had an advice to students. Reading makes a full man. Can you all repeat it? Reading makes a full man. Repeat it. Writing an exact man. And conference makes a ready man. Will you remember this? Reading makes a full man. Writing an exact man, and conference a ready man. What does it mean? When you read, not merely the syllabus and the prescribed lessons, read whatever comes to you. And when you read books, a book is called, a great writer once said, a book is the precious lifeblood of the author. Today reading is given up and you go for, what do? Texting. No? Downloading. Downloading does not give you the same thrill of encountering the precious blood of a writer. So develop the habit of reading. Writing. When you write something, it has to be precise, You get a training in being precise. Writing makes an exact man. And conference or a debate makes you a ready man. If you have the capacity to, or make use of every opportunity to come to the stage and face an audience, you develop confidence. Dear friends, I am so happy that I could be with you and share a few moments and witness this memorable ceremony. I am really making it as a memorable ceremony. The way every one of them came up with a discipline and sense of responsibility, I was feeling so happy and proud of this institution. All the best for this institution, all the best for you children, and congratulations to the parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your persuasive and stimulating speech. I request our principal to felicitate the chief guest with the memorable memento as a token of appreciation.
Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. But once you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Dear respected J Alexander, our guest of honor, and a very well-wisher and active friend of Christ institutions, dear respected Father Martin, our vice principal, respected coordinators and dear teachers, dear parents of the elected cabinet, and my dear students and esteemed members of the cabinet. The investiture marks a major milestone in your learning not only of the leaders, even of the company of the leaders. That is a new milestone in the journey of Christ School, as well as in the personal life of each one of you, because it inspires you, it invites you, and it demands a lot from you, from all the students, the student community. So wish you a safer days and best of experience. May God bless all of us. Thank you.
I now call upon the school pupil leader, Jesney George, to propose the vote of thanks.
A great leader's courage to do things comes from passion, not position. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Honourable Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Alexander J IAS, respected Principal, Father Sebastian Elinjickal, respected Vice Principal, Father Martin Onessari, coordinators, faculty members, parents and my dear friends. I once again thank each and everyone for all your support in making today's program a grand success. Thank you. I remain.